Let's now move on to main topic number 4. And our fourth main topic today gets submitted to us by, oh gosh, let me see if I can get this name right. Will Draugelis, who writes, my question is regarding the Johnny Depp situation. I think Warner Brothers' decision to recast Depp is the right one to me, but I also find it a little bit hypocritical. It is just strange to me that they got rid of Depp, but Ezra Miller is still attached to the film. Depp, of course, is found guilty in court. Well, no, not technically he was not, but we'll talk about that in a second. Depp, of course, was found guilty in court, but there is also a video of Miller attacking a girl. I was just wondering, why do you think that Depp is out, but Miller remains attached to both this and The Flash? All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yeah, look, we've been talking for a little while now about the Ezra Miller situation. I talked a few months ago about the seeming hypocrisy of Warner Brothers, that on one hand, they instantly fired Sawyer, Hartley Sawyer, if I'm remembering his name correctly, the guy who played Elongated Man in TV's The Flash. They fired him very quickly for old tweets they found from years earlier. Yet they had Ezra Miller choking a girl and they didn't do anything. And this roughly happened at the same time. And I've made videos about, Warner Brothers' apparent hypocrisy about this. It is inevitable that we've seen over the past couple of days a lot of people now drawing that comparison with Ezra Miller, especially considering that Johnny Depp and Ezra Miller were supposed to be in the same movie together. Well, they were in Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald. By the way, something I've said many times, I thought Johnny Depp was the best part of that movie. I like Crimes of Grindelwald. I know a bunch of people didn't. I like Crimes of Grindelwald, and I thought Johnny Depp was the best part of that movie. And now they were supposed to be in this next Fantastic Beasts movie together. Why, some people would say, have they gotten rid of Johnny Depp? It's unfair that they got rid of Johnny Depp while they keep Ezra Miller at the same time. And I think that is an interesting question to ask. It is an interesting question to ask. I do want to look, though, at there are some differences between Johnny Depp's situation and the Ezra Miller situation. That doesn't mean it changes the conclusion, but there are some differences that I think are worth noting here. And the first thing I think we should note here when looking at the Johnny Depp situation is this. I think, as we step into the Campea classroom here, I think there is one fundamental difference between the Johnny Depp situation and the Ezra Miller situation that basically put Warner Brothers into a corner where they had no choice but to act. And that was what I think was Johnny Depp's biggest mistake. Johnny Depp never should have launched those lawsuits. Johnny Depp never should have launched those lawsuits. Because here's why. Before Johnny Depp launched that lawsuit against the newspaper in the UK and an upcoming one that he has against Amber Heard in the US. Before that happened, it was basically a TMZ he said, she said thing, at least amongst most the public. It was a he said, she said thing. Some people very much soured on Johnny Depp. Some people didn't. But Warner Brothers was in a position that they could just ignore it, at least publicly. At least publicly. Behind the scenes, they were doing their own investigating, whatever, but publicly they were able to ignore it. They never commented on it. They never did anything to remove Johnny Depp. None of that stuff. Because at that point, it was a he said, she said. Once Johnny Depp made it a court issue, now it's suddenly like that. It was no longer a he said, she said. Now it's a court said. After months and months of evidence and testimony and arguments, a court actually came out and a judge said in a public statement that the allegations against Johnny Depp were actually, and he used the word, proven and were substantively true. By taking this and making a court case out of it, Johnny Depp inadvertently transitioned this issue from being a he said, she said issue that Warner Brothers could just ignore and pretend didn't happen. Now it's a matter that a court said, proof, the evidence says Johnny Depp did these things. Now, again, I don't know. I wasn't there. But I'm just saying this is what the court said. After months of testimony and months of evidence, the court said it has been substantively proven Johnny Depp did the things he's accused of. This puts Warner Brothers into a very, very awkward situation. This freezes Warner Brothers into an incredibly awkward situation because now that a court has weighed in on this thing, now that a court has decided to have a say in this, it changes the dynamic. Rob, let me give you a sports analogy for a second here. Actually, this isn't really an analogy as it is a direct comparison. In the NFL right now, for those of you who don't follow sports, let me give you a little bit of background here. There's an extremely talented wide receiver by the name of Antonio Brown. Now, Antonio Brown had been suspended from the NFL. His suspension is over, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers signed him up. All right. And Tom Brady, of course, is the quarterback there who got his ass handed to him last night, by the way, by Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. But that's a story for another time. But they heard out Antonio Brown. How he's made an argument to them that he's changed. Tom Brady and a bunch of other former teammates came up and spoke on his behalf and blah, blah, blah. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers decided, okay, we're going to give you a chance. But here's the catch. Right now, Antonio Brown has an outstanding sexual assault case going on in court. And Coach Azarian made it very clear that, listen, we heard out Antonio. We believe that, we believe what he's told us, and therefore we want to give him a chance. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have said, if the court case happens and the court who hears all the evidence and all the testimony, a lot of which we here in Tampa Bay haven't heard, if a court decides that he did the things he's accused of, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have already said he's gone. Like that. He's going to be gone. Because now we've got a court saying that this is the case. And if that happens, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have said, well, at that point, he's going to be gone. This is how Warner Brothers has been put into a no-win situation. And listen, as critical as I have been, Rob, against Warner Brothers, regarding their, Hartley Sawyer issue, the Ezra Miller and the Johnny Depp issue. The reality is this: I feel bad for Warner Brothers because none of this is their fault. None of this is their fault. Warner Brothers is saying Warner Brothers didn't put out these stupid ass tweets 7 or 8 years ago that Hartley Sawyer did. They didn't do it. Somebody else associated with them did it, and they were the ones put into a situation where now they got to deal with it. Warner Brothers wasn't at some bar in a pandemic in Iceland and decided to choke a girl in front of a bar. Warner Brothers didn't do that. It wasn't them that did it. But somebody who is associated with them did, and so Warner Brothers gets mixed up in it. Warner Brothers wasn't involved in Johnny Depp's marriage and whatever domestic assault happened there. They didn't do it.
They gave him a lot of money, though.
They gave him a lot of money, yes. But here they are. Now they got to deal with it. And so on that level, I kind of feel bad for Warner Brothers because they didn't ask for any of this. And now they're being criticized by assholes like me for how they're responding to it. And I do have some valid criticisms for how they're responding to it and all that kind of stuff. But again, I feel kind of bad for Warner Brothers because it wasn't their fault. But the point is this, is that it gets elevated to an entirely different level, Rob, once now a court is involved. And once a court says, we've heard all the months of evidence and testimony, 90+% of which the public have never seen or heard, and our determination after hearing all of this is that you did these things. And now that a court said that, it puts Warner Brothers into a very, very difficult position.
Yes, it does.
What do you do? Because now it's not just about what you think. Now you got to deal with this. Now, and that's where the big difference comes between that and the Ezra Miller situation, right? As of right now, because you know that I believe that Warner Brothers and Ezra Miller probably paid for a very nice vacation for that young lady and many vacations to come to never see the inside of a court. But that's the difference. When the Johnny Depp situation, we have a court finding and issuing an opinion on what they saw in the evidence. With the Ezra Miller situation, we don't. Now, I still don't approve of Warner Brothers just sticking their head in the sand and pretending like nothing ever happened with the Ezra Miller situation, but it didn't get elevated like the Johnny Depp situation did. And Rob, I get it. Johnny Depp, he felt his reputation got besmirched. He wanted to maybe try whether he was right to do so or wrong to do so. He thought he could take a stab at, getting his credibility back, whatever. But the reality was he was in a better position prior to starting these court cases than he is now. And I think at the end of the day, he's going to have to sit back and realize launching those court cases was a mistake. It was a mistake because it just put Warner Brothers in a tough situation. And I agree. There is still a level here on Warner Brothers' part of hypocrisy of how they've dealt with these three different situations, the Johnny Depp, the Hartley Sawyer, the Ezra Miller. There is a degree of hypocrisy there that I think Warner Brothers does need to address. But I think with this court finding, Johnny Depp basically put their backs against the wall and they were pretty much left with no choice. But I don't know, Rob, you see all this. How do you describe or explain the different approaches that Warner Brothers has taken with, say, an Ezra Miller situation and a Johnny Depp situation, two guys who are supposed to be in the same upcoming movie? How do you see all this?
Well, I mean, I think it's not every situation is the same. And I think after, like you said, after a court case, after a long investigation, the Johnny Depp situation is, and let's remember that it's not just Ezra Miller and Johnny Depp, it's also Amber Heard, who's going to be in Aquaman 2. So and don't forget, and the Snyder Cut. Zack Snyder wants her in the Snyder Cut. So what does Zack Snyder do now? Yes, and also, we also, let's face it, we live in this world where the Me Too movement, believe all women. It's a little difficult to when a man has been abusive and it's abuse that has been let's say proven, and the courts were pretty definitive about that. If you are notably employing somebody who has abused women, what does that say about your company? Now, the Ezra Miller situation, we saw one incident that was a little nebulous as to what was going on. And I think after probably Warner Brothers did an investigation there, the situation obviously is different than what went on with Johnny Depp. We don't know how. It's not really our business to know, but apparently Warner Brothers felt confident enough to move forward with Ezra Miller in both another Fantastic Beasts movie and The Flash and the Snyder Cut. So, you have to take it on faith. These companies, they have hundreds of millions of dollars riding on these decisions. These are not decisions that are taken lightly. And we live in strange times, very volatile times, and you never know what's going to happen with social media and people taking up arms against other people. It's a hard one, but clearly there's certain situations that are different as far as the studios are concerned. And like you pointed out, even in professional sports, I like the idea, though, that until someone has gone through the courts and they've actually been found guilty of criminal activity, that's when you punish somebody. We've been living in this quick hair trigger world where people are having their livelihoods destroyed based on conjecture on social media, and that has to end. And I think that what Warner Brothers is doing, they're waiting until there's investigations being done, both internally and externally, and they're making their decisions based on their findings. And that's the way it should be done, I think.
It is very interesting because you bring up the Snyder Cut. It is very interesting because now not only have we had a Fantastic Beasts situation where you had Ezra and Johnny, two players in this. Now we've got Snyder Cut coming, which has also 2 players. We have Amber Heard and we have Ezra Miller. And it's going to be really interesting to see what, if anything, Warner Brothers is going to do or what Zack Snyder is going to do regarding those situations. So it's just going to be, and again, as much as I am sitting here crapping on Warner Brothers, I do feel for them. Because again, I get it. They're just there trying to make movies. They're trying to make money and make movies that people like. And then all of a sudden, these assholes that work for them go out and do stupid shit in public that reflects badly on them. And now they've got to sit there and figure out how to sort out this mess that wasn't their fault in the first place. It's tough. It's hard, but it is their job to now sort this out and figure out what to do. And it's going to be interesting. Again, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Fantastic Beasts. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Snyder Cut. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with all this stuff. And don't forget, we still have another court case coming. There's still another court case coming. So let's see what happens after that as well. Question is, guys, what do you think is the big difference between like these different scenarios? Why did, Warner Brothers move on one and not maybe another? I personally think it's pretty clear that's because one has an actual court ruling involved, others do not. Maybe you see some other variations there. And by the way, don't come in here with any of these stupid bullshit. I'm 5 years old and I believe that a judge was paid off. Don't come with me with any of that shit. But if you got some real other stuff there that I'm not considering here, please jump in, throw it in the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys.